Hey guys, Thomas here. Now, for this week, I wanted to review something good, something that I'd actually maybe enjoy. So, I was looking up on Mall for some winter season anime, and Death March really stood out to me. It even had a score of over 7, which meant that it should be great. And the poster looked pretty awesome. Also, everything with death, like Death Note, Death Parade, are pretty cool. So yeah, this just seemed a bit too good to pass. But now, after watching it, I went back on Mall to see what the hype actually is about because I wasn't maybe a big fan. And it's suddenly under 7. God damn, why didn't you tell me before I watched this? Because everybody knows over 7 is like okay watchable and under 7 is utter garbage that should be avoided at all cost. Why did you do this to me, Mal? So let's get into the nitty gritty of Death March. To the parallel world rhapsody. I was too lazy to read the title fully before. I thought it was just 2 words. But yeah, it's another one of the shows where a guy gets transported into a video game world. I mean, it's kinda like making a blockbuster movie about zombies these days. It doesn't instantly mean that it's going to suck, but most likely it's going to suck. And it even seems like every season a new Isekai show appears, like it's just a running joke nowadays. But at the core of why people might be tired of these kinds of shows, I think, is because they don't do anything new. So, what does this bring to the table? How does it innovate in the world of video games and anime combinations? We have so many of them already, so how does it stand out? Well, it does start out pretty neatly. We have a programmer as main character, which is a job that isn't very often represented in the anime world, so this is pretty cool already. And it even portrays their horrible working conditions to the point of sleeping at their work. And after being transported into the video game world, he has 0 skills, doesn't know what's going on, but he retains the things that he was programming on the game at the time. So this is kind of a new angle on the whole subject. Not just going into a video game, but going into a video game that he himself was programming at the time and retaining his coding stuff that he did before. But that's pretty much where all of the originality leaves the story, because afterwards it instantly becomes another classic video game anime. Which means that the character is intensely overpowered, rich, and can do whatever the hell he wants. He's like a god of this world now. Literally, in the first episode he started off at level 1 like everybody else, and then used his skills to decimate an army, getting him up to level 310. For reference, a normal human in that world is level 1 to 10, a flying dragon is like level 30 or 50, and pretty much the highest we've seen is, I think, level 60 or 100 something, I'm not sure. And also, he has an infinite amount of money from the loot and an infinite amount of skill points, which just makes the whole world boring. Because every time a new obstacle appears, no matter what it is, cooking, sewing, fighting, performing adult acts, he can just add points to that skill tree, max it out, and now he's perfect at it. Like there's no challenge there at all. So we end up with the strongest character in the world who can overcome any challenge in the span of 5 seconds. Oh, but let's not forget about the insane harem that he amasses. I think every isekai is trying to trump each other over how many girls they can actually get to the main character. At one point there were so many girls in his harem that they actually had to send 10 of them on a side mission to some other place because they couldn't just handle so many different characters on screen. Okay, so I'm going to spoil the story a bit here, but then again, if you have seen at least one video game anime, then you know what's going to happen. This doesn't try to be original at all. Now, how do you think our hero ended up in the video game world? Maybe some futuristic technology, maybe some magical stuff, going through a portal, and the servers being shut down, whatever the hell that was. But no, it's none of those. He just goes to sleep and then he's there. Later on it's explained that a pedo goddess fell in love with him when he was like 7 years old, and that's why he was going to be teleported into that world. So he's there, he saves a girl, gets to a city, makes friends, gets more girls, does some more jobs, gets more girls, encounters a problem, solves it, and that's all. I did want to try and talk a bit more about the story, but there isn't anything in there. It mostly falls under 3 arcs. The first section, which is pretty interesting when compared to the other ones, because everything is new, everything is going to grab your attention. Of course it's going to be interesting in the beginning, but when we actually get over the freshness of the world and into the story, then it just becomes really mundane. Also, if you thought that our main character wasn't overpowered enough already, in one of the first episodes he learns skills of lying, deception, and manipulating others. Which means that every character he interacts with, he can pretty much make them do whatever he wants. And before continuing, I need to bring up the fan service part here. So, it's not that bad, but there's this 13-year-old barmaid who's so well endowed that it's not even funny anymore. She works at a bar. If you'd say that she's 20, we would have believed that. It would have been okay. But you outright say that she's 13. Though aside from that, it's pretty tame. Until the last episode when the little kids are licking his white, icky, goo-covered fingers. It had no purpose. The scene had no purpose. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna show some creepy stuff, then why not go all in? Though there is one good thing about the main character, which is also pretty interesting and doesn't appear in a lot of other shows. It's the fact that in the real world he was a 35-year-old man, so when he gets a harem of little girls, he really doesn't care about them, cause he's not a pedo! And for me, something like that in an anime was pretty surprising. Also, the fact that he has skills that let him manipulate his own face and makes him unable to overreact or show emotion. Okay, back to the story. So the second part is about a piece of lore coming to life about a guy who got murdered, etc. I'm not sure, but it was referenced earlier and then actually brought to life a couple episodes later. But it was so convoluted that it was close to impossible to follow. It's like they covered the whole thing in 2 minutes, which while watching it I didn't care about because it was just so random, and then it was resolved 3 episodes later. So then again, who cares? It had no role in the overall scheme of the world. It didn't really do any world building or character building. No, never mind, it was extremely important because that's where he got 10 succubi in his harem. And the last arc is about some political drama, which means that they try to give some depth into the story and make it a bit more interesting and adult. But overall it just ends up being a potion transport mission where the potions are being destroyed and our main character just learns how to make potions in 2 hours, makes a lot of them, saves the day, and it's resolved in 2 episodes flat. So again, nothing to talk about. And that was also the finale of the whole show. That was supposed to be the most extreme thing to get you hyped up for the second season. But like, screw that, there was nothing interesting here. We already know how it's going to end up. The demon lord that is being hinted at is going to show up, the hero defeats him, and that's it. Then again, as people like to say, it's not about the end point, it's about the journey there. And this journey is boring. Their adventure consists mostly of doing mundane tasks that everybody can do, like, going to the market, tasting foods, buying stuff, walking around. So it's not really an adventure anymore at all. Not to mention the characters aren't really that interesting. Nobody has any deep backstory except the one little lolly character, and the main character is just Jesus himself. It's all just pandering immensely to the otaku culture, showing that an average programmer person could be a god amongst men. So if they dream really bad, they could be like that one day too. Wait, am I making fun of myself in this sketch? I'd say this show has a lot of self-reflecting to do, because it tries to play off like a video game anime, though it appears more as a weird slice of life show, because they just do average tasks most of the time, and talk a lot. And the most concerning thing is that he doesn't even really have any goals to strive for. He was just tired of his average work, so this for him is like a vacation. This is kinda like Konosuba, if you take away all the parody, satire, and comedy aspects from Konosuba. Now, what does this show get? A 5 out of 10, and a seal of dab on the... Also, a quick question. Why does every isekai have to take place in a magical kingdom world that's kind of taking place in the Middle Ages? You know that you have other worlds too, right? At this point, I'd even say that Sword Art Online is one of the best video game anime out there, because at least it kinda tried something new. It had different worlds, and though it had its own problems, it was still pretty cool. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, then subscribe. There are videos released every Thursday and Sunday. And also, yes, tap on the notification.